Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. We got a nice 1-2 punch for you. Before we had a mortgage specialist, and now we've got one of the best home builders I know. He's the CEO of Hemlock Homes, Bryan Bercik. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, Bryan, you're an expert in new construction and remodeling in Pittsburgh, sales and operations as well. You're a husband, a father of 2 beautiful girls. I saw the dancing pictures and everything.
Yeah.
And then, so you recently posted about the perspective of not being able to work as much, right? And a lot of entrepreneurs have that perspective and they feel like, oh, I can't work as hard as I used to. And you had an interesting take on that. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So like, I hear it all the time as we start to get older. It's like, oh, I don't have time, anymore. I have dance, I have baseball, I have soccer. And that's true. I mean, it's definitely true, but I feel that people don't understand the asset of time management. Like, we plan out our day here. I mean, I write down, just like I said, I have pen and paper. I go right down the list, checking them off as they're done, and they're all mostly money generating activities. I mean, that's what I focus on a lot of the time during the day, or a certain portion. We try and work in here to try and time block as best as we can to, identify areas that need to be fixed and hit them accordingly. It's tough because we're understaffed for as much work as we do, but we try and stay consistent. We try and stay organized, and you'd be shocked when you audit your time, how much bullshit you do and how much time we actually waste.
Have you ever heard Justin Nelson talk about how he time blocked?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, crazy.
I love that version of it because it's the extreme version of it. So this guy, he strapped a GoPro to his chest and had his VAs basically time block his whole day so he could become a lot more efficient at time management. But I don't know if I have the balls to do that or not. But
I don't know if I want to do all that, but
yeah, absolutely. All right, brother. When did you decide that you wanted to become an entrepreneur? Were you in the construction space already, the remodeling space, or the new home builds, and you saw an opportunity?
Definitely not new home builds. My entrepreneurial thing's always been like, I've always been able to sell stuff. Back in the day, I was like slinging Pogs or Pokemon cards.
Yes.
That was before Pokemon cards were cool. But, I got suspended middle school for selling and hemp necklaces. I was a salesperson. Somebody built them. I mean, we made thousands, and,
Wow.
they caught it, and then I had a permit and all this stuff. They wanted me to repay all this money. But, I've always been, the gift of trying to be able to sell and understand leveraging other people and myself to do more activity. So, I worked for my dad for a very long time. He's an entrepreneur, business owner for over 35 years, and kind of watched him grow and delegate and evolve and consistently grow, and how hard it is. So, I stayed in that business for a long time helping him. But I always wanted to kind of do my own thing. And I got into real estate over almost a decade ago now, doing fix and flips and rentals and that stuff. And I kind of got burned out on that. Then I did acquisitions for a couple of years, and as a lead salesperson for one of the biggest flipping companies in our market. Moved on from that and was able to then transition into construction, to where we started Hemlock Homes. And I seen a void in the market for new construction, where I was like, I don't know any young home builders. Like, they're all older. That's kind of an older demographic thing. And I'm like, well, who's going to carry the torch one day? So, we kind of sat down in a restaurant. Buddy of mine's cousin's been a home builder for a long time, worked at some production companies and things of that nature. And we sat back and kind of just mapped out, like, okay, where can we do? How can we do this? And I was like, listen, man, you bring the construction side, I'll bring the sales, operations, and the money, and we'll figure this thing out. So we ended up borrowing like 1.4 million in private money and built 4 specs. And that's kind of how it started. We paid a shitload of money in interest to that, and but it built our name.
Yeah.
And that private money person I still deal with today. I love that person. I mean, they were able to get us off the ground, and
Yeah.
nobody wanted to finance this. Everyone's like, we're not financing dirt. There's nothing there. There's no lienable items, and I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, I'm going to do this. And they're like, you've never
You
even
know
built
who
one
I think I
house.
am?
Yeah, you have never even built one house. But
Yeah.
so we ended up doing, we didn't make a bunch of money, but we were able to get our brand out there. And then we realized that we needed to transition into pre-sold custom. So we started to do that. Again, it's just a reflection of doing good business. Our lawyer, who we deal with a lot with our closings, we ended up building his house, which was over $1 million. So like our first custom true house was a giant one. So, we were able to deliver and deliver.
You could say you
deliver.
specialize in 7-figure homes right away.
Yeah. Multi-million-dollar producer. But yeah, it's I mean, again, for me, it's always been a premises of like, I'll go broke in this business before I leave anybody hanging. And I feel that that's really what has elevated us. Plus a phenomenal team. I mean, we've been able to, there's been extremely hard times. I mean, we started scaling this thing right when COVID hit, and
Oh, wow.
ridiculous. I mean, we built 17 houses through COVID, didn't ask anybody for a dollar, ate it the whole way because we understood that if we ruin our brand now, we'll never be able to stand on our own 2 feet 10 years from now. So, we were willing to take that hit on the chin, and nobody argued here. It was never a thing of like, oh, this is your fault. This is your fault. We didn't make it. I mean, we lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and no one pointed the finger at anybody. So that kind of right then and there was like a turning point for us. And we're like, okay, we have a solid foundation. How can we build on it?
Yeah. I remember listening to your guest episode on, I want to say Thomas Keenan's podcast. And you talked about that. You were just coming off of that. You know what I mean? And you were very optimistic yet. You know what I mean? You just lost I think it was like 50 grand on one house. You know what I mean? Because the market changed, right? The contract was signed, and then all of a sudden the supply wasn't there anymore. The costs went up, and now you're like 10 grand upside down on this house, but you still built the house and followed through.
The biggest one, I think the biggest loss we took was about 82,000 on one.
Wow.
And that's like not including my supervisor's time or my partner's time.
Right.
So it's really probably more like 100 and some.
So now that, you're a couple of years out from that, 3 years out from that, where can you see where that has benefited you long-term to where y'all made hundreds of thousands now because you made that decision back then, or is it still?
I mean, we build we got efficient, man. As far as like, our processes and, our vendor relationships, we had to shift our partners who are sub partners. We had to shift. I mean, we made all the right moves, I felt, during COVID. And we didn't get distracted by, we had to scale unintentionally, I had to keep money coming in the business. So, I mean, we went from about $1 million to about $9.5 million in 4 years, but it was because of necessity. I had to keep just bringing it in, or because if I couldn't, we weren't going to keep the doors open.
Right.
But we were also able to, maintain a very good quality home during that time. And, I think it was extremely important for us at that moment to not ask, because there was a lot of builders stopping their builds and asking people for $60,000 to $80,000. We collectively as a group sat down, talked about it, and decided that wasn't the way we wanted to handle it. And I feel that that's the better play, because now it enabled us. And my whole thing I always tell everyone is like, I just need more innings at bat. I'm going to keep getting better and better. Like, let me keep building one house after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, because we're going to go back and look at where we messed up. Thursdays we dive into our data to where like, okay, where are the numbers transition? Where, how are we on this phase, that phase? So, I mean, we dive into a lot of that stuff now, when before we never had to, because we never used to have to be in the commodities market as a builder. Now I do. Yeah. Now I do.
Yeah. And I would imagine it fluctuates a lot. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pre-purchase, and like, I can't even imagine.
I mean, we have so many moving parts. It's
Mhm.
insane.
So when you look at, that journey in the last 4 years, obviously, well, let's just go into that for a little bit. How did you educate the customer? Because if I think about it, when I bought my first home, let's just say I did do a new build, I wouldn't have known, even though all this craziness was going on in the marketplace, that all your costs were going up and that basically you were eating this house. You know what I'm saying? So did y'all make an effort to educate the customer behind that and what that looked like? Or
I
did y'all
didn't.
just kind of like,
I never brought it up to anybody unless they gave us a
"Mm,
very hard time at the end.
okay, that makes
And I would
sense.
be like, listen, I
I'm not making
I'm
money."
just gonna I didn't make any money. I mean, I
Yeah,
lost a lot of money. And I'm not,
yeah,
and we didn't say anything to you. We didn't want to inhibit your experience. We didn't want to make your
right.
experience any lesser than. So we didn't say anything. Like
Mhm,
it I understand that you can either make somebody's life extremely you're going to have a very negative experience with new construction or you're going to have a good
right.
experience. There's no in the middle where
That
it's
makes
like,
sense. Yeah.
it was kind of good, kind of
Yeah.
not, but it usually goes either good or it's not.
Mhm. Yeah, anybody that I know that has built a house, and that hasn't been, the builder in the process, um, it's been a bad experience.
Yeah.
And I can say that across the board, whether it's,
Mm-hmm.
the spec home, the cookie cutter, or the
Mm-hmm.
completely custom home,
Yeah.
they have complained to me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I can imagine when you have probably all the raving fans you created from that time, what I'm saying, that you invested a lot of money and your own time in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be huge for your business now. So when you look at your lead generation now, where are your leads coming? Are you getting a lot of referrals?
Yeah,
You
so
see,
that's the craziest part about our business, and I attribute it a lot to the same thing that with Build Your
Mhm,
Machine. I mean, I went super hard on that. I mean, I posted consistently every day for over 23 months, every single day. And
mhm.
I'm like, it's not all just brand, 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 brand,
Right,
brand, brand,
right.
brand. I mean, you got to put out some education, you got to put out some content that people are worth listening to.
Hmm.
Um, for us, we've scaled, like I said, from about 1 million to about 9.5 million in 4 years, solely based on social media. Nothing but. I spent $10,000 last year on marketing, and we did over 9 million.
That's crazy. That's
It's
crazy. Like
nuts.
all the
It's
marketing
fucking
people are
nuts.
just
It's
like
nuts.
uncomfortable right now.
It's nuts. It's bananas. And it's me doing it all. So like
Yeah.
I get up, I have a routine every morning that I do when I get home from the gym. I post same thing, yada
Hmm.
yada. We've talked about this before with Stu
Yeah.
and all the same stuff. Like I followed that and I was like, okay, like if I'm gonna be heard, I need to be heard, but I need to be genuine. And I also need to not be able to back that with authenticity. And
Yeah.
the thing about us is we've had issues. Of course, this is construction, but
Yeah.
I've never abandoned anybody ever. I've gone
Right.
negative on multiple projects because I'll come back and fix your stuff until it's perfect. And I always
Hmm.
will.
Hmm.
And I always said that it's not about, you got to believe in the jockey.
Yeah.
So if you're not believing in what we're doing and who's standing behind it,
Hmm.
I don't want I don't want to play this game.
No, it makes a ton of sense, and I've seen a lot of that too. And because you are posting it out there and you're putting your brand out there and you're willing to say, hey, we're gonna finish it and we're gonna do it the right way, like all of a sudden your conviction in every other conversation changes.
Yeah.
It's like I'm already putting all my shit out there on social media,
Mhm.
like test me, like call my customers, find out.
Call it.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure.
And that creates this confidence and this conviction that people can feel and see. You know what I'm saying? They want to be
Yeah.
a part of it.
I mean, my biggest goal right now in my goal for my career is to bring some integrity back to construction. I don't give a shit. Like money's an ancillary factor to this game. But
Hmm.
like it is so messed up right now with the amount of people getting ripped off and all that other stuff. It's just one of them things where we cannot allow this to continue to happen.
Hmm.
It's not it's something like when you see a homeowner that's saved for 12, 15 years for a big major project and they just get robbed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And like here in Pennsylvania, our legislation's awful. So like we write a check for $50, we're a contractor. That's it. Easy as
Wow.
that.
Yeah. Now that, yeah. That's a lot of industries though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everybody's a coach now, right? So
Oh yeah.
they don't
They
even
always
have to
say
write the check.
it's easier to be a coach than to do.
Yeah. So, when buyers are getting into the marketplace and they're looking at building, what are some of the key things they can, and I'm just curious about this because I know we're going to get into the sales stuff, but now that you said that, I want to know, like, what should somebody be looking for? Because not everybody can be in Pennsylvania and hire you to build their home, right? So what
Yeah,
should they be listening for to understand, hey, I'm about to get hosed if I don't pay attention here?
it's a dude. I say this all the time, and it's like it's one of them things where you have to understand what you're getting for your money. You have
Mhm.
to. So every builder does things differently. So I have been in an industry to where I can so it's funny. Well, I'll just go into the story of this. So when I first got into the industry, I was the new guy. So every time people would come into my office, I was the last person they would visit. And I always
Mhm.
thought that was like bad until they started telling me about every experience they had with everyone else before me. And they told me everything they hated. They told me
Mhm.
everything they loved. They told me every problem. They told me every issue. So then I just formed my thing right around all that. So
Market
then I
research,
made,
baby.
yeah, so I did I'll do everything that the other builders don't want to do. I'll carry every stone. I'll do every single thing that they, because we're full custom in every aspect. I'm
Mhm.
there through design, I'm through the dirt work, I'm there through everything. A lot of builders in our industry or in our area don't do foundations, or I'm sorry, they don't do excavation, they don't do driveways, they don't do landscaping, they don't do appliances. So people
Mhm.
will be like, "Well, why is your number $150,000 higher than the next person?" I'm like, "Because that builder is leaving you with $200,000 in work to do yourself. You
Yes.
just don't understand that because all you're looking at is the number." So
Yeah.
people don't understand because they get too mesmerized by the difference in the number. The difference in the number is when I build for you, you move in and you're done.
Yeah.
Not, hey, let's move in and let's do $200,000 of work myself and
Mhm.
try and hire more contractors and try and be a GC and all this other stuff. That's not how you build a home. I'm your GC. I'm your builder. I'm there from design, selections to finish. We do all your permitting for you. I mean, we do every step of the way. It's all done by us in house. I mean, we have a builder, we have a client right now who's like friends were like, "Oh, you have to be so stressed out. You're building," and she's like, "Nah, it's been great. It's simple. I don't really do anything. I show up and there's just a bunch of stuff done. I don't know, it's great." But there's the other side to that of where and it's also materials. Like what kind of materials are you getting? Are you getting
Mhm.
builder grade windows? Are you getting pellet windows? Are you getting Lennox furnaces? Are you getting Goodmans? I mean, the production people are all very notoriously known for putting in subpar materials. That's to keep costs down.
Yeah.
I don't want to have warranty problems, so we put in quality products, put in by quality partners. And I'll be honest, I don't have rarely any warranty issues, very small.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And
Because warranty will bury you as a builder. Like now
Mhm.
that we've built probably over 45 houses, if I have
Mhm.
problems at all 45, I'm going to go bankrupt fixing them all.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. Like, and that's just in doing business in general, right? It's not taking the problem customer. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not taking on the risk, whatever the case is. Like, the more and more you hold that line, the better and better your business is going to get because of it. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, we did a lot of that. I mean, you walk in our door, you see our core values on the wall, and we can kind of
Mhm.
tell, and we've been, I would say I've been extremely fortunate. I have some other buddies who are builders, and some of their client stories are horrendous.
Mhm.
I don't have that. I mean, honestly, I mean, I've met some awesome people. We've had some really, really good experiences with people. I mean, we've been able to, see videos from people enjoying their houses on the holidays and this
Mhm.
and that, and maintain a good relationship and have referral based. And it's very rare that people want to start throwing builder names out as referrals because they know that it could, if it goes bad, they're going to look back at
Yeah.
them and say, "Why did you give me this person?"
Why'd you give me this asshole?
Yeah, for sure.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Let's pivot a little bit to your remodeling division. And this is such a tough, because I have clients that are in kitchens. I have clients that are just in bath, and clients that just do patios, what I'm saying, or turf. So when someone tells me that they do remodeling in general, it's like, wow, that's a lot, but obviously it makes sense coming from your point of view, because y'all build complete homes, right? So you have those divisions within your home building, and then you can just, I'm guessing, use them for the individual remodeling jobs. But have you, because this is something that from other people, like Sam Kaufman is one of them. He just focuses on kitchen and bath, right? Do you find in that remodeling part of the business that the juice isn't worth the squeeze because it's so general?
I mean, I think every contractor, when they first start out, they want to start out doing everything, and they're a master of everything and great at nothing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we more or less focus now on kitchens, bathrooms, finished basements, and custom trim work, and some porches. But other than that, I mean, we stick within our niche. I did the same thing. I did a lot of everything in the beginning, and then focused on what we're good at. And we have a 9-person in-house team, so they kind of we swap them in and out during their strengths, during certain phases of construction. But also for us, we had to have remodeling, because the biggest thing about contractors where they mess up is cash flow. They don't understand it. They have no idea how to operate it. They have no idea how to maintain it, and they have no idea how to track it. So for us, the new construction side brings in giant chunks of money, which could bring in more profits. But you might only get 1 draw, 2 draws a month. That's not enough. I have to have consistent cash flow, which is where the remodeling comes in. So the remodeling for the first 4 years of our company piggybacked all of our overhead. It paid for every single piece of overhead. So I'm net zero when I get to new construction, because when I actually figure this thing out and I'm net $1 million on new construction, that's true net $1 million.
Right.
Where it's like I have because my overhead is already, being taken by the remodeling. That pays for our office rent. It pays for all of our stuff. It doesn't, and it still does make a profit, but it gets hit by a lot of overhead. But our overhead, I'm looking at it now. I mean, we did Q1, we did almost 1.4 million, and our overhead's like 9%. I mean, that's low. We run thin. So yeah, I mean, for us, we needed the remodeling to be able to let the new construction build and grow.
So now,
but I'll tell you though, if you're doing just remodeling on its own as like a profession, you need to do a lot to make money, a lot to make real money.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, because the material costs and everything, the labor, especially if you don't have in-house labor.
Your cost of goods sold is like 70%.
I know it. When people throw out these big numbers, whether it's in solar or in new construction or whatever the case is, it's like, shit, your cost of goods is like you said,
astronomical. 70%. Yeah. Dude, during COVID, I'm looking at the numbers now on my wall. I mean, our cost of goods sold was in the 80s.
Wow. It's insane. Yeah. I love that you have the numbers in front of you, though. That's incredibly important in any business. So I love that. Okay, so you're the main, right now, you're the main salesperson for your remodeling division. Kind of walk me through, what does that sales process look like? Where are you generating your leads from? Is that also from social media, referral, that type of deal? And then do you have that process lined out?
Yeah, so I still sit in remodeling just because, I mean, I love meeting the people. It's the only thing that still like holds me on to it. Is like, even this morning I had a conversation with a guy for an hour about his farm. It's just, I love talking to the people, yeah. So like, again, it's all social media based, everything. So we just started our first like actual real money. We did a billboard I think we signed up for 8 months. So that was like our first actual.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's our first actual paid marketing that we've ever done. Ever.
Let me just jump in here and say this real quick. Like, I wish you guys were in Texas. Like, because when I get ready to build my ranch house, like literally the pictures that you post, I save them on my phone because I love these homes. And you're Brian's being 100% genuine in what he's saying. Like, I've never seen one look the same as the other. Other than that blue, which I love the blue, obviously, because that's my color anyways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's, so that was our first piece of actual paid marketing we've ever done in this company since we started.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, everything's based on referral and social media based. Um, yeah, so we have our admin answers the phone daily. So rule of thumb is if you're a contractor and you actually answer the phone, you're better than 75% of all contractors out there. It's just
Winning.
true.
Yes.
So, I typically, and I used to have sales appointments all over the place, but since I'm still in operations and I still work at a high level in the company, I do appointments only at 9:30 in the morning most of the time. That's my time to do appointments. I get that appointment a day and then I'll come in. Typically, I turn around all proposals within 2 days. I
Nice.
try and get them out that day because I feel like speed wins.
Hmm.
Although, nowadays with money being a little bit more expensive, we're getting shopped out a little bit more. But
Yeah.
again, it's, you have to be able to separate yourself. I always tell people if it takes someone to take 3 weeks to get your bid back, your project's going to take 3 times as long. So,
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I anything that fits our criteria of a bathroom, basement, bathroom in the areas that we like to work in and the zip codes
Mhm.
that we target, I'm going on that appointment no matter what because I want to meet you. And my biggest thing about sales is, and you can probably agree to this, and this has always been my thing.
Mhm.
I'm going to get that client to like me more than they like you. That's my number one focus. I'm
Yeah.
going to get them to like me more than they like you because I'm just going to sit there and be quiet and listen and listen and listen and just ask questions and listen. And again, it's, these people are going to tell you their story. And a lot
Yeah.
of people, I hear this all the time. Contractors will be like, I told them my idea, but they told me I should do it some other way. But that's not the way I want it. I'm like, well, then I'll build it for you the way you want it. It's your house.
Yeah.
You're paying
Exactly.
I don't live there, so but yeah, I mean that's our process, and then I have follow up Fridays. I do all of our follow ups on Friday, just email blast, boom, 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 boom. We use Builder Trend software, so like I can look at the map of like where we our target markets is. I mean, our target market's within 30 minutes of our office, and it's just
Mhm.
peppered. But yeah, we moved over to this office, which is in more of an A neighborhood. And we have branding all over the windows and things of that nature, but it's also
Mhm.
put us in a higher level clientele. But I'm also not high end. I know my clientele. Like I sit in the middle class, the upper middle class. So we don't do
Right.
ultra wealthy. We don't do well there. It's
Yeah.
the same even when we build houses. I know that we're great in the 650 to 800. We're doing a few over 1 million this year, but that's not our niche.
Yeah.
We stay in where we're good at and what we do consistently. And, our turnarounds on new builds and all that is crushing everybody. I mean, we are
Mhm.
crushing everyone in time to completion. But yeah, as far as like our process, it rolls, call comes in, my admin sets my appointment at the
Mhm.
time. I check my calendar the day before. I know where I'm going. I'm 15 minutes early. Um, I, I've done the same kind of presentation, just listen to what they need, get a
Mhm.
proposal over fast, follow up, and again, there's some people where I'm honest too. If I don't like the project, I tell you I don't want it. I don't like it. Not comfortable with it. It's not what we do. I'm not
Right.
here to waste your time. And again, I think people miss
Appreciate that.
that authenticity. Yeah,
Yeah. They're like, well, how do I make you like the project?
you can't.
Now they're selling you.
Yeah, you can't. Because like again, I mean, I'm looking at our order of starts. I mean, we have 9 projects and all the ones that we like to do, and
Mhm. Very nice. So it sounds to me like, and every salesperson has something that they're very good at. And yours sounds like rapport. Aside from execution,
mm,
obviously, rapport is a big thing for you. Do
yeah.
you have kind of these stories you have queued up that you like to tell customers?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It all depends on the customer. They'll kind of lead the way, but
Can you tell
I
us
always,
one of those stories?
yeah. There's definitely like I went on one the other day and we were fixing a house across the street, and I was like,
Mhm.
she's like, and she had that contractor come look at her house, and I was like, listen, I'm not gonna name drop or I'm not gonna do all these things, but same as it's really expensive doing things 2 and 3 times. I'm like,
Mhm.
so think about that before you understand you can deliver on who's going to actually come into your home. And you have to understand that we're coming into other people's houses. It can be uncomfortable. It can be weird. You can need to have a process for it. But yeah, I mean, there's always like a few key stories of like, whether it's fixing certain things or I'll tell this story. So I'm a big advocate of like doing the right thing. So I'm very consistent with my vendors. If you're my vendor, you're my vendor for as long as I can keep you. So I used an appliance guy since I started my career, and I consistently use them. And he calls me one day. He's like, "Hey man, I got this lady in here and she wants her kitchen done, but she just keeps getting ripped off by contractors and she just can't find a good one. Can you help her out?" I'm like, yeah, give her my number. And, she called in. I ended up meeting her. I helped her out with a few projects that she had problems with, charged her nothing, did it, just because she wanted to do the kitchen. I'm like, listen, I'll make money on the kitchen. Let's help get your other projects squared away. So yada, yada, we end up doing her kitchen. And she so happens to be a consultant for construction companies as well. So, we kind of talked and did all these. Yeah. So we talked and did all these things. And she kind of helped me and molded me and helped me on some things where I could have got better.
Nice.
And, we ended up doing a 6-figure kitchen for her. So we're going through COVID. And again, this all comes down to doing the right thing and doing what you say you're going to do. And we're going through COVID. I have $125,000 in bills in the back that I don't know how I'm going to pay. I have no money coming in. We have nothing. So she calls me and she's like, "Hey, I want to do a cabana in the back of my house as my office. And then I'm going to make my office that." I'm like, "All right, cool." So it's like a custom full-on pool house, cabana, office, kitchen, bar.
Wow.
So the project was over $300,000. And I had no money at this point, to like, I don't know how we're going to continue to even do it.
Right.
She emails me one night and says, "Hey, if I give you a check for $200,000 tomorrow, how much will you take off?" And I'm like, so we come to terms and she gives me a check for $200,000. So I was able to pay that $125,000 in debt, take the profit up front. And that's what kept our company going during COVID.
Wow.
Craziest thing ever.
That's amazing.
Craziest. Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You know what I love even more about that story is that, damn, my mind went blank, but that she was a construction consultant and she couldn't find anybody to do her kitchen. Like that just that blows my mind. You should have a whole Rolodex of people.
Yeah,
she had to go out and get a referral from your appliance guy.
It's nuts, dude. And like, there's been little gems dropped along the way, and again, I always entitle it back to doing the right thing. We've always done the right thing. When we have any issues, we fix it. I'm not going to fight you on it. We're going to do the right thing every single time. Again, I'm here to play the long game. I'm here to play to win, and I'm not here to just money grab.
I love it. 100%. So now that y'all scaled all the way up to 9 million, how have you seen the business evolve in terms of your operations and your support team? Have you had to add on a lot of people, or have y'all just become incredibly efficient, or where have you seen those changes happen?
Yeah, so we're still running thin. So we have 9 field guys that we operate, and we intermingle them into new construction and remodeling. We have one project supervisor. My one partner who runs the new construction side, still day to day out in the field because he loves it. We have a partner over there who runs the remodeling side, who oversees that. And we have an administrator, an office manager, and now we just brought on one of Justin Nelson's VAs as well. Awesome. But we've had to add that piece, and we're trying to now kind of segment into, obviously down the road, we were going to have to build a C-suite because I've said it to everybody, I'm building this thing to sell. There is no doubt.
Yeah.
So it is, one of the things we'll have to add down the line, but we're still running thin because we're finally just getting out of the COVID stuff. I mean, we are still in it a little bit, we finished all the builds, but we still have a little bit of debt we accumulated from COVID that we needed to get rid of. Last year I paid back over $400,000 in debt. So, what we have now is under 100, so it's really not crazy. But to be able to sit in that position and being able to figure out how to juggle these pieces has been something. But yeah, I mean, we have, I think we have 13 on staff now, and we're trying to segment everyone into like their select roles now. And really divvy out like what our things are, because we all do wear a million hats. So I mean, if it wasn't for everyone here, this would have just been a disaster.
Hell yeah. No, that's the truth. So you guys are doing the billboard marketing now. Obviously, in order to get to the next level, it can't just be you bringing in the leads. So is that what you're looking at? Some of that like old school marketing? Or are you guys looking at some new school too?
Nah, I'm not I'll be honest, and this is no like shot to the digital marketing people, but I've had zero success or happiness in that land. So I feel I've always felt old school marketing works. Other than social media, I mean, we do every platform: TikTok, Instagram, Rumble, Facebook. My demographic's mostly Facebook. We don't do much on Instagram. Our following's not huge. Our following's big on Facebook, TikTok. I mean, we get the average. Snapchat, all the same stuff. But yeah, I mean, I love the billboard. I'm always a big believer in branding. I think the power of branding. I mean, you look at Nike. I mean, they're $3 shoes. We buy them for 300. So it's all because it's got a swoosh on it, and it's Louis Vuitton, all the same stuff. They're all brand. It's power of brand. And you look at some of the big builders in our market who don't have good reputations, but it doesn't matter because their brand is so strong, so strong. So I focus more on branding more than I focus on actual customer acquisition.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. And, I just watched that documentary that they put out about courting Jordan. All right, it wasn't a documentary; it was a movie.
The movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I got to see it. How was it?
It's freaking amazing. Like one of the best entrepreneur movies out there right now. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that's how they sold him. They sold him on his own brand. You know what I'm saying? So
what's better than that?
Yeah, what's better than that? 100%. All right, so what's next for you guys over at Hemlock Homes?
So we are going to slowly start transitioning into development. Is kind of the play for us.
Really?
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. So we we bought into I think 13 or 14 acre community in Washington, which is an area south of us. Yeah, it's kind of the foregoing of how we're going to grow. So, we want to get into like a 25 home community and do some stuff like that. I still love doing scattered sites, but it's tough. It's a very, very hard way to do this. And the land availability is getting to be tough. So until we can get in and buy some bigger tracts, scaling is going to be difficult. We always, at the very beginning, we're like, oh, we'll build 50 homes a year. And I'm like, I think if we just do like 30 homes a year, we'll find out we make enough. But, right now we open about 22 homes a year. We'll finish about 18 or so. So yeah, that's the growth and where we want to go. Stabilization. I want to stabilize. Me and you talked about this. I'm going to be pretty close this year. I think we're going to stabilize remodeling at about 2 million. And then at that point, it makes sense to bring on a sales guy. So now, me and you doing our thing, I think we're going to put something really nice together. But it was in that weird spot before where like 1 million's kind of there, but kind of not enough for a salesperson.
Right.
So now I think this year we're going to elevate into some higher dollar projects, and we'll be able to sustain that and be able to bring on, full-time remodeling person. But yeah, it's for us. I want to build about 30 homes a year, and ultimate goal in 5 years is to hit about 20 million in revenue. Hell
yeah. Now that you're doing development, are you afraid of losing some of that like custom brand? Because are y'all going to be offering like kind of a skeleton or maybe a 70% built home and then the rest is custom?
I mean,
how are you going to do that?
We're trying to, so right now we're in a plan where it's full custom. There's no HOA requirements. There's nothing. So we're building a $1.4 million house in the back, and we're building like a $600,000 ranch, and everything's still custom designed.
Okay.
I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, I feel that production building is going to take a giant hit here in the next couple of years. I think people are tired of it. I think semi-custom is going to win for sure. Yeah.
No, I started in real estate. I worked for a realtor that listed 300 homes a month, and
Ridiculous.
I got so tired of taking pictures of these cookie cutter, and at the time it was, in South Texas is a lot different than up there, but at the time it was like $150,000 to $180,000 homes. It was the same house every time I stepped into one. I was like, I don't even have to take pictures. I just use the one from this other house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
I made a post of that the other day where I posted one of our big houses that were designed and custom for somebody on a farm.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it's not a Napa, it's not a whatever you want to call it model. I mean, people ask me, they're like, you're pretty not afraid to like create some waves. And I'm like, the thing about us is like you're either gonna get known or you're not. Like
right.
us as builders, it's a weird thing. Like we're not friends. Like I'm all about unity. I think if we all were together and we all kind of like forged ahead with one another, we would go somewhere way further. But
Mhm.
the building industry is weird, man. It's like we all look at us like we're all straight competitors and whatever.
Mhm.
Like, so the way I hit it is like just right between the eyes. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
make you see me. I'm gonna make you know we're here. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
you watch the growth, and I'm gonna make you get nervous until you want to go. Now you'll know. But
Mhm.
I mean, for us, we don't have models. We don't. That's why we try and have more visualizations in our design process and all those things. But
Yeah.
I still think semi-custom is gonna. The word custom gets thrown around way too
Yeah.
loose in this business.
No, every development is custom.
Yeah.
Get out of
Yeah.
here. Like, it's
Luxury and custom.
like you're swapping out granite countertops for mica. Like that's not
Yeah.
custom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
or vice versa. But
Yeah, everyone uses the terminology very loose.
100%. All right, brother. Well, I got one more question for you, and I'm excited to hear the answer on this one. So my last question is, what does legacy mean to you, and what legacy do you want to leave behind?
Legacy for me means absolutely everything. I am in this game. Our name and reputation. I don't mean my name. I don't
Right.
care about my name. I care about Hemlock Homes.
Okay.
When we're going through this, our name means everything. Like I got into this game because, and I told somebody this a long time ago. I said, the weird part about this industry is I said, 50 years from now, someone's going to flip one of our new construction houses. Do you understand the dynamic of what you're doing? You're taking people who move into these homes, whether they're going to have great experiences, and you're changing each one of those person's lives. They're going to have Christmases, Thanksgivings, Halloweens. They're going to create kids' memories. It's more than just a build. Until people understand that, you're playing wrong. So like, yeah, I look at it in the sense of like, I want Hemlock Homes to be known for something that we're proud of. We built quality homes. We did quality service. We played the game right. We were patient. We didn't do, for us, it's all about the long game and understanding that, yeah, it's crazy to think about that someone along the lines when I'm dead and gone is going to flip one of our houses. It's nuts.
Yeah. And they're going to say, wow, this is the easiest house to flip because it's well built. And I just have to update things that, need updating or whatever the case is because of style or trends or whatever. But
Yeah.
no, a legacy of memory makers. I love it.
Mhm.
I love it, brother. That really is. I think that's our soundbite for sure, Ryan. I appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
A ton of value, whether it's from the entrepreneurial standpoint or just the sales standpoint. So
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, let's get building.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Building Great Sales Teams podcast. We really do appreciate it. As you know, we believe that great leaders build great teams. How do you become a great leader? You learn from the greats. Join us at the $1 Million Mastermind put on by Ryan Stewman in Frisco, Texas, and learn everything that you need to learn to be that great leader. The link will be in the description below. As always, we ask that you like, share, and subscribe wherever you consume podcasts so you can stay up to date with the Building Great Sales Teams podcast. Let's get building.